Thank you for tuning into our podcast, Canal Days, What Life Was Like in the Industrial Connecticut River Valley of Massachusetts. Thank you for tuning into our podcast. I am your host, Carrie, and joining us today is Holyoke's very own local historian and creator of the historical tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Camus. He personally offers and leads public and private tours, as well as presentations of historical sites within communities throughout the state of Massachusetts. Currently, the communities he has chosen to focus on this year are Holyoke, Chicopee, South Hadley, and East Hampton, and also Granby and Amherst as well. His tours spotlight the local canals, reservoirs, cemeteries, and churches, as well as various parks, streets, and selected historical houses within each community. In today's episode, we'll be discussing the Chicopee Riverfront Park, located in Springfield, Massachusetts. So where is this park located within Springfield?
Fairly easy to find if you just keep the instructions in mind. It's right at the end of the Indian Orchard Canal, and it's on a street called Water Street, which is a one-way street with side streets to it. And the Chicopee Riverfront Park is with one parking lot for cars with kayaks or a trailer on top, and then one parking lot for none of that, just where people want to view the scenes. And it's part of, well, it's on the Chicopee River, but it's in the Indian Orchard part of Springfield. So keep that in mind. The name might give away that, oh, is this in Chicopee? No, it's not. Even though Chicopee does have a river front park of its own. This is on the Chicopee River as it flows through Springfield. And if you go there, you'll have great scenes. And what we're going to learn about today is I'm going to tell you what the Blue Trail is, and then I'm going to tell you what can be found at this park, and I'm going to tell you about what maybe this system can do in the future to keep developing these kinds of parks, because it's not the only one on Chicopee River, and hopefully they'll get more from themselves.
And explain to us the Blue Trail.
The Blue Trail is a group that's trying to get as many riverfront parks on the Chicopee River and the Quoboc River as possible. And this river system is the #1 drainage system of Massachusetts. It's the largest drainage area, it means the largest watershed it has, and it feeds into the Connecticut River itself, right? And that, of course, that data excludes the Connecticut River itself. So of all the smaller rivers, this is the one that drains the most land. Now, the Blue Trail is both a group that tries to advocate for more of these parks, and also a group that keeps a website where they have maps where they have these riverfront parks along the Quoboc and along the Chicopee River. So you can find one of these parks in not only Springfield, but also you can find one in Ludlow, you can find one in Palmer, you can find one in the towns around the Quoboc. And therefore, basically kayaks and canoes to get into a place where that person could rest for a few minutes or an hour, have a good scene. And it's also for people that come here without a boat and just want to have a good view of either the Chicopee River or the Quoboc River. And so it's a great concept, and they have a fairly decent website for themselves.
And really quick, before we continue with our interview, just to fill our listeners in, for more information or to sign up for any various tours, you can check out his website at holyokecanaltour.org. And there you can find videos and podcasts of the stops along each of his tours, as well as photos and text of the historical sites throughout as well. And for private tours and other inquiries, you can email him directly at bobcat4214, capital B, @yahoo.com. And his tours make for fun educational outdoor activities for families and group parties. So, getting back to our interview. Now, what are some of the features found at this park?
The features, well, it's a double lot where one lot you can come into, like I mentioned, and it's for people that just want to look out with their family to get a good view of the Chicopee River. Across the river is Chicopee. On the side that you're on, it's Springfield. And now if you look towards the left or towards the west, you get to see the start of the Indian Orchard Canal. You can see the dam that feeds it. You can see its spillway or gatehouse. And you can include a visit there, walk along the street there. So it's a great place to put a river access point because you get a view of a canal also. And upstream, that means towards the left, you can have, it's a wider area of the Chicopee River, so you get a good look up there. During the warm months of the year, they put the very large buoys out there in large roped off area so people don't go towards the dam area. So during the summer, you have to go upstream only. But it's a fun place to be. Now, a lot next to it is for the cars to come in with a boat on the top of the roof. And they can discharge their kayak or canoe from that position. So overall, I would guess there's about 16 parking spaces combined with the two. And it's a one-way street, but once you go up another 100 yards, you have a side street to the right, and you get right out of that area. So it's a great place to bring your family for views, especially in the fall or spring, and a great place to come in with your kayak from afar. So especially from a Chicopee or Ludlow or Wilbraham, and come in downstream for a while and then go back upstream. Now from there you cannot go any more downstream from this position because the dam is there.
And how will the riverfront park system be developed in the future?
Hopefully, the Blue Trails group will develop this park more and develop more parks themselves. For instance, I heard there's none in Chicopee yet, and yet they're developing a lot in the Chicopee River. Probably there's none in Chicopee yet because after this Indian Orchard Dam, there's a couple more dams along the way that you have to get around. And so you have to find a place where you can get down to the river and make sure there's no dams around for a long time to make it worthwhile to build a site that you can put your kayak in. But hopefully maybe there'll be one maybe closer to the mouth of the Chicopee River as it enters Connecticut. And hopefully, maybe someday they can even develop along the other, remember up in Palmer, it's called Three Rivers, where the Chicopee River meets the Swift River, the Quobac River, and the Ware River, all meet. It's almost 4 rivers there. And I hope they start developing along those 2 other rivers, the Ware River and the Swift River, boat access locations. That'd be even greater. And 20 to 30 years ago, I was big into kayak, but I know people that still are, and they've used all of these, and they say they're nice to use and a great system. And they have a nice web page with good maps. I hope they keep improving those maps and descriptions. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Robert, for educating us on your tours and historical topics of your expertise. And of course, we want to thank our listeners for tuning in. And check out a large selection of our other podcasts on his website, as well as on SoundCloud.com. And be sure to stay up to date with new podcasts and videos posted daily. Thank you, and hope you join us again.